3 books that I will accept no criticism on. In my mind, these books are perfect. They were written especially for me, and if you didn't like them, I don't want to hear about it. First is These Silent Woods. This follows a father and daughter who live completely alone, isolated from basically everyone and everything, until one day a woman goes missing in the woods nearby and the investigation threatens everything that they've worked so hard to keep hidden. This book destroyed me, and I did not expect it to at all. I read it back in January and it has stuck with me. I still think about it all the time. Next is, of course, Mary. I think about Mary every single day. If you don't know already, this is about a middle-aged woman who starts hearing voices and seeing really creepy things in the mirror. Eventually, she has to travel back to her hometown to care for her aunt who is sick. Honestly, this book is batshit crazy. I loved every minute of it. You will not be able to guess where it's going. Just buckle up and enjoy the ride. Oh, and listen to the audiobook if you can. It is fantastic. This should be no surprise to anyone. They Never Learn was my favorite book of 2022, and it still lives in my head rent-free. This is a dark academia, feminine rage thriller about a professor who is essentially a queer female Dexter and likes to take matters into her own hands, shall we say. Jane Fargo's writing is just so good and captivating. This story is so satisfying. If you take one recommendation from me in your life, please let it be this one. 4 thriller and horror tropes that I will never get sick of reading. First up is Vacation Gone Wrong. I don't know what it is about a group of people being totally out of their comfort zone and having to survive by any means necessary that is so entertaining to me, especially when the characters are not super smart and making dumb decisions and we get to yell at them. I love reading it because I love that it's not happening to me and the stakes are super high and I just think it's so fun. Very similar to this one is Isolation, or when the characters are stuck in a horrible situation and it just feels like there is no way out. Again, love that it's not happening to me, but I also love thinking about what I would do in their shoes. These are so scary and always keep me on the edge of my seat. I literally never want to put them down. Next is Creepy Kids. I feel like people either love or hate this one, but to me there is nothing scarier than when a child is either possessed or evil or just something isn't quite right with them. Like, I literally get chills just thinking about it. These books are fantastic birth control. Okay, and last is probably my favorite, and that is Feminine Rage, or Good for Her, whatever you want to call it. This can look a lot of different ways in books, but my favorite is basically just women getting angry and getting revenge. Always so empowering and satisfying, and I just can't get enough of it. If you have more book recommendations that fit with these tropes, please let me know what they are, and if you have other spooky tropes that you love reading, let me know what those are too. Still moving and I miss my bookshelves, but I managed to read 9 books in June, so here are my rapid fire thoughts and ratings for each of them. The Ruins was my favorite book I read this month. I gave it 5 stars. To me, this book was absolutely terrifying. There are so many scenes that I still cannot stop thinking about. This is definitely one of my new favorite horror novels for sure. The Last Thing to Burn really took me by surprise. This was a very claustrophobic and heartbreaking thriller. It had me on the edge of my seat from the very beginning. I absolutely flew through this, and I really think it deserves more hype. If you liked Still Missing by Chevy Stevens, you need to read this immediately. Part of Your World was so good. I do think Yours Truly was just a little bit better in my opinion, but I still loved this and I need to read everything else this woman has written. Mistakes Were Made. This book was good, like really good. I listened to this one on a 10-hour drive, and let me just say it made the drive absolutely fly by. I read The Drowning Kind with my book club in June and I loved it. There is something about Jennifer McMahon's writing that I just cannot get enough of. Her books are definitely more on the slower burn side, but they are so haunting and unique and I get so attached to the characters. This one was fantastic. If you have read Lucinda Berry before, you know her books are brutal, and Appetite for Innocence was no exception. As soon as I saw her herself say that this was her most disturbing book, I had to read it immediately, and I have to say I think it's my favorite one. Please check the trigger warnings though, oh my god. I finally read The Marriage Act. This was another solid thriller from John Marr. This one is set in the same world as The One and The Passengers, so if you liked those, you need to pick this one up too. This would have been 5 stars for me, but I felt like the ending was lacking or like missing something, but it was still so good and I could not put it down. Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. I loved it. I think I loved Delilah Green a little bit more though. With this one, I just felt like the conflict was so unnecessary at times, but it was still really sweet. There was great character development, and I will be reading the next one when it comes out. And Summer Rental. This was really fun. I wanted a quick summer slasher thriller, and that is exactly what this was. I did not guess who the killer was, even though I probably should have, but I just thought this was a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend it for like a poolside summer thriller.